Carrie and Tommy will launch in just a second to brighten your day. With CommBank Yellow, you get discounts and exclusive experiences. More recognition for you and benefits for your business too. Say hello to CommBank Yellow today.
It's the one and only
Carrie Bickmore.
And Tommy Little.
This
Is Carrie and Tommy.
Welcome to the Carrie and Tommy podcast. How are we, guys?
Oh, good, I think.
I'm
Are
up and
you good?
about. I'm up
I
and
had
about.
a terrible sleep, but no one cares. But I'm good.
I care. Why'd you have a terrible sleep, Kate?
Well, I don't know, because we filmed that thing last night,
Yes.
one of your secret shows that
Yes.
you're doing that I made a cameo on.
You were wonderful.
And by the time it ended, I think I was wired. And
You were
then
buzzing.
I couldn't go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I saw Hughesy this morning, and he had the same issue. We both went to sleep very late.
I don't reckon you were for the same reason that Hughesy.
No, he said it's hard to come off the high of being on TV, his words were.
The being on TV, he's on the high of 1,000 Dexies. That's what he's on.
No, he was on them on his way
Prescribed,
to have a
of
run.
Yeah, they are prescribed.
Yeah,
It's legal.
ADHD. Every comedian has it now. Hey, we got a big show coming up.
Absolutely.
We've got an incredible person coming on to talk about her experience growing up
Yes.
with a disability and the impact that's had on other people, including someone in my circle that has benefited from her beautiful, kind words.
Yep. We've got a year's worth of free cleaning to give away. So if
God,
you're sick of cleaning your own house, we're going to pay for it for a whole year. That's coming up.
But up next, I saw something so dodgy on a plane, and I want to speak to other dodgy people.
Great.
Carrie and Tommy.
Across the country, if you drive home this afternoon, it's Carrie and Tommy.
Here's a question.
Yes.
Actually, I feel like we should put this out to the people because there may be a very what's the phrase?
Articulate.
Undodgy reason why people have this.
A very wholesome reason.
Yes, wholesome reason why people have this. But how many phones do you think's too many phones to be rocking at once?
3. If you got 3, you're dealing drugs.
Okay, so the guy sat next to me on the plane today had 3 phones.
Yeah, it's too many.
And he didn't look like a drug dealer.
No, they
but
never
then
do.
But then I was trying to work him out, and I was
But they
like,
don't, because what do you think a drug deal looks like?
oh, like real, like dodgy.
What's that, Kate?
Just
Apart
like,
from you changing your voice.
like you, but a bit more unkept.
Oh.
Like tattered and a bit shiny.
They're wearing red sneakers.
It's greasy, thank you very much. Red sneakers.
Red. Why they've always got red sneakers on? Is that so they can be spotted in the distance?
I've never seen a drug dealer. That's what I was going to say. So who knows what colour sneakers
Anyway,
they
the
wear.
guy next to me on the plane
Yeah.
seemed like just a father, just an everyday guy
Yeah, they're the ones.
rocking 3 phones. And I looked at him and I was thinking, what? Who is this man and why does he have 3 phones? And I thought, first of all, it exhausted me just imagine trying to keep track because they were different phones
No,
too.
'cause he did
One was a
actually-
Samsung, one was an Apple, and one was this thing that opened up into like some diary form. And I thought the amount of chargers that he'd need to be rocking, I can't find one charger in my house, let alone 3 different types.
But I actually think, Carrie, it'd be more relaxing than you think because one is a work phone, right? And
Well, I thought maybe he works overseas, so he needs a phone for different time zones or something.
no, I think he would
Different
just have a
SIMs?
work phone and a personal phone, and that accounts for one of them. And then at whatever time, the work phone goes off. Like it'd actually be
But then
quite
what's the
good.
third phone?
The third phone, are you sure it was a phone?
Yeah, it was.
Because when you say it folds out and it was a
Sorry,
diary thing.
it looked like a phone. It looked very much like a phone, but it kind of flipped out into like did this little gymnastics move and also became like a diary with little
Are you sure this wasn't a Nintendo Switch?
the
Kindle?
55-year-old man didn't have a Nintendo Switch.
The 55-year-old man that we're accusing of being a drug dealer.
Yes, well you said he was a drug dealer. I didn't. And then I thought
stand by.
maybe it's like an affair phone or something, which is why 131060 if you carry more than one phone and you're not dodgy, which means you're not having an affair or you're not a drug dealer. Give us a call as to reasons why. I mean, if you're doing either of the others, it's kind of fun to call us if you're a drug dealer.
Sorry?
Speak to one. Anyway.
Call us if
But then
you're a
I
drug dealer. Is
thought,
that what we're doing?
if he's got 3 phones, that's too many affairs. That's too much for one man to keep up with. So I just wondered what he does.
I honestly think one's for work, one's for personal, and I don't think the other one's a phone. I'm really sorry, Carrie. I think you've got a Kindle or something.
He's not.
confused
It
with
wasn't a
phone.
Kindle. I've seen a Kindle. He could tippy type on it like a little
Yeah.
keyboard,
Yeah.
and it had a screen.
So like
But it
a-
also had a camera, like a hole for a camera.
It's sounding like it could be a phone, doesn't it?
It does sound
But with
like
a keyboard.
phone, but with a keyboard. It
Yeah,
was almost
it's
like
an
an old
iPad
school
mini?
BlackBerry.
Blackberry.
BlackBerry. Anyway, call us 13 10 60 and tell us why you're rocking more than one phone and why.
Carrie and Tommy.
Driving you home for your Tuesday afternoon, it is Carrie and Tommy.
Yeah, we're talking people rocking multiple phones. A guy on the plane next to me had 3 phones on the go. It was just overwhelmed me watching him maneuver these 3 phones. And I was trying to work out what they were all for. Tanya, are you a multi-phone user?
No, I'm not. I was calling in regards to a little bit of information about drug dealers, to be honest.
Yes, because everyone thinks drug dealers have multiple phones. Yeah, well, they do, yes.
So my ex-partner of nearly 15 years, he was a drug dealer, and usually they buy El Cheapo burner phones. They're less traceable, and they have multiple SIM cards usually.
Oh, do you have to physically put the SIM cards in and out?
Yes, you would have to, yes.
Right.
So
you
Tanya,
swap them
how many
over.
phones? How many phones was he rocking?
Just the one.
Oh,
But with
But it
multiple
was-
SIMs in it.
Yes, and it was an El Cheapo burner phone, so basically less traceable.
and then how often would he change his number?
He usually probably every 12 months or so,
Yeah, right.
so that it was not traceable. So, yeah.
Oh, good on you,
Fascinating.
Tanya.
Thanks, Tanya.
Oh, here we go. An anonymous caller has called up who doesn't want to go on air, though, and says knows an undercover cop who has 5 phones. Maybe the guy next to me was an undercover cop.
It's pretty bad undercover cop if you're showing all your phones,
Well, you got to hold them somehow.
but not out in public. Like, there's no undercover cop that's rocking up to a deal, putting 5 phones on the table and going, so, boys, what about this hooch I've heard is so good this time of year?
Shay, are you rocking more than one phone?
Yes, I am. And I do
And
it
are
out
you
in public
dodgy?
sometimes too. I'm not dodgy. I'm not dodgy. I guess I'm a little bit of a nerd.
So tell us the reason, Shay.
So I won a little bit of money and I went to JB Hi-Fi. And I'm like, I want the best of everything. So I went and bought the iPhone 16 Pro and the Galaxy Fold and the Galaxy Flip. So I think that might be what you guys are talking about as well. Maybe one of
The
those.
Galaxy Flip. Yeah, I thought it was a phone,
Yeah.
but it opened up and did all these other things.
Yeah. So I
Yes.
bought my partner the Fold and I got the Flip. So yeah.
So you just went and
that one
spent your
kind of-
money on all the fun things you wanted to get.
Yeah. I was like, why not? While I'm still young, I'm going to be a kid.
How did you win the money, Shay?
Just on Keno, honestly. It was. I
Is
think
it
I
enough?
spent it was off $2. Like,
Wow.
it was insane.
And how,
Shay, is it enough? I'll just ask for a ballpark. Is it a life-changing amount of money?
I mean, not really. It was enough to pay my bills and
Okay.
get some phones.
How cool.
But, yeah.
so
I've
hold
never
on, do
spent
you
so
rock
much
all
before
those
at one
phones at
time.
once?
I do play Pokemon Go, so sometimes I will rock 2 at a time, and people do look at me funny, and I get a weird feeling because I'm like, I don't really want them to think I'm dodgy, but I mean, I'm playing Pokemon, so
Good on you,
yeah.
Shay.
Have you?
Web guy Eli, do you want to have a quick Pokemon Go chat with Shay?
He's coming in. He's coming in.
Oh.
I
Here he
literally
is.
do the same thing. I've got 2 iPhones for that same purpose because there are
Yes.
so many quests on Pokemon Go which you have to trade a Pokemon with someone else, and
Yes.
you can't sit there and wait to find someone to do that with. So you just got to do it with yourself. But
Exactly.
People pretend to be trading Pokemon and they're actually just trading
With
drugs.
themselves. Oh.
No, I just mean like all
What?
of you going out and you're saying you're trading Pokemon, you got your 2 phones. It would be a great like cover.
A front.
I
Yeah,
mean,
great
maybe
front.
back in the day when it was like a really big booming thing, that could have been something they could have used.
I just
But
don't think.
probably not now. People still look at me weird when I've
Yeah.
got 2 phones.
I think it would actually sound dodgier.
yeah, they're not trading drugs; they're trading Doug trios.
Yeah, very
That's a Pokemon.
good.
Shay like that one.
Good reference.
Good on you, Shay. What about, let's go to Elle. Hey, Elle, how are you?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
No
for
worries.
being a part of it.
How many phones are you rocking?
Look, I am not a drug dealer. I
Okay.
didn't win Keno, but
Okay.
I am a single mum with 3 children and I have 2 phones, one purely to get me back in the dating game.
Oh.
This is interesting, Elle. So the
What?
kids
Oh.
don't see your stuff on your phone.
No, so say if the daycare rings up, I don't have my serious mum voice and go like, oh, hey, how you going? You know, so everything's purely the dating, one for the phone for the dating, one for my serious, you know, my real life, I guess. You know, I can be who I want on the other phone, Whereas though my other phones were like personal, you know,
I guess it
like
keeps it all private too, so
daycare.
people don't know your real phone number and stuff.
Yeah, and like honestly, you can just be who you want. So yeah, I've got the 2 phones, but no, I'm not rich and I'm not a drug dealer.
So,
but,
Elle,
yeah.
I think
I'm
it's
hunting for a man.
I think it's wonderful. Can you give us a demo, please? First of your.
I'll be daycare, and you be the man.
You'll be daycare.
I'll be daycare.
Okay, so do you want to call first?
Yep. Hello, is Elle there?
Hi, Elle speaking. How are you?
Oh, hi, Elle.
Here you go,
The
guys. Look, we got
triplets.
some real input here. I've got a child joining me and everything for the phone call.
Yep. Okay. Well, it's a weird time now to put the man on the phone, but
No, okay. Now you can be the man. Now be the man.
Okay. Hey, babe.
Oh, hey, how you going?
Carrie and Tommy. Carrie and Tommy.
It's Carrie and Tommy for your drive home this afternoon.
our next guest is a dead set legend. She was diagnosed with a life-threatening sarcoma cancer at the age of 2. At 3 years old, had her leg amputated as a necessary medical intervention. Swimming became part of her rehab. In her own words, it may sound strange, but I was fortunate to lose my leg at such a young age. At the age of 2, I didn't know too much about fear, self-doubt, or ambition, and it certainly hasn't held her back. She is our most decorated Australian female Paralympian of all time with 17 Paralympic medals. Would you please welcome Ellie Cole?
What an intro. I feel like I should introduce you two with a bio like that.
We don't have one. Oh, sorry, Carrie does. I don't.
Welcome. Congratulations on your new book, Felix and His Fantastic Friends. I've read it, but for everyone else, can you tell us what it's about?
I'm super excited about this book. So this book was actually based on my son, Felix, and the idea came about when I was just chatting to a friend one day and mentioned that he was going to go to school one day and his classmates are going to realise that his mum's a little bit different. And I didn't want him to necessarily be ashamed of that difference and the fact that I have a disability. And so I decided to write a book about what it's like to be different and the special parts of being different and how it's actually your superpower in the end of the day. So Felix goes off to school and he meets all of these different kids who are very different to him, have very different experiences than him, and he learns how to play with each one in a very different way. So it's all about embracing differences and accepting differences. And, you know, we live in a mental health epidemic at the moment. If everyone just loved who they were exactly as they were, I think we'd all live in a much happier place. And so I decided to target that straight to the kids.
Yeah. I remember getting told recently that fiction teaches kids empathy, and it's really important. They said there's only so much you can do with real-world examples, but often in fiction it allows you to embody a character and learn to think with different kind of shoes on and stuff like that. I didn't realise, and maybe you knew this before I did, but the power of stories with kids to subtly teach them things.
Absolutely. And, you know, you've just mentioned there that fiction teaches empathy. It teaches different perspectives at the end of the day. And as a Paralympian myself, I know from the vast majority of people that I've had the pleasure of competing alongside, everybody has an incredible story and a very different perspective to life. And it's been a real honour for me to become a Paralympian because I have learnt so much about perspective and I do have a very different outlook on life than most people do. And as you mentioned at the beginning, Carrie, I'm actually really proud of my difference and what it's actually taught me. It's been a huge silver lining in my life that my parents never would have understood when I first went in for my amputation. So I'm really honoured to have had the opportunity to explore so many different perspectives being an athlete with a disability and then to be able to write that into a book so that young kids can hopefully learn that when they're a little bit younger than I was.
I've got a question that's kind of twofold. Firstly, kids can be brutally honest, not just through lack of understanding often. How did you navigate in your younger years and even maybe as a teenager through those years some of the reactions and responses to kids? What would you say to children who had questions or had thoughts about your leg?
It's been really interesting. It's actually more the adults that have preconceived ideas that have probably unintentionally caused more offence than the kids have just by asking questions. I think curiosity is one of the most incredible, characteristics that we can have. And we are so curious as children and we lose that along the way somehow. But it's really important for kids to be brutally honest, to just ask the questions and they learn the quickest in that sense. They're not beating around the bush. They literally address the elephant in the room. And so for those kids and the parents out there that are listening as well, that curiosity is so incredibly important. And as a parent, you should never shy away from that. If your child has a question, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, that's your problem. But it's really important to address that and then just to move on.
Well, that's the second part I was going to say is as a parent of children who obviously have questions all the time and can't help but look and immediately want to know the answer as to why someone might look different, why someone might walk different, why someone, the list goes on as to things they're learning about. Where's the line and how do you want parents to talk to their kids about difference and about what things are okay to say to someone who's living with a disability, what questions are okay to ask and what sorts of things shouldn't be said and shouldn't be asked? Because I think people want to do the right thing but aren't always armed with the right way of doing it.
I can understand the anxiety that surrounds that particular situation. As a person with a disability, I have people all the time who approach me and I can just tell that they're flustering. They're scared of using the wrong terminology. And I feel that way around different minority groups that I don't necessarily have too much experience with. But at the end of the day, as a person with a disability, if I can see that someone has good intentions and they're asking the question for the right reasons, I'm going to be as patient as I can with them. I'll answer questions until the sun goes down. So I don't think that there's necessarily any question that's a bad question because everyone has a very different experience.
Yeah.
People will be at the start of their journeys if they've just acquired a disability. Some people like me have had it since they were a young girl. So I think it's really just about kind of reading the room, which is a skill that not many of us are too good at, to be honest. But if you have good intentions, I think you can go into any conversation asking any question you want to.
So I contacted you a few months ago. We'd never met before in this kind of personal way. And I let you know that a friend of mine's daughter had been diagnosed with an osteosarcoma and was having a really tough time. She was, I think, 9 or 10 at the time. And what you've done for that family has been incredible. And up next, her mum wanted to chat to you and just let you know what a difference your involvement in their family had made. Can you stay with us?
Of course.
Carrie and Tommy.
It's Carrie and Tommy for your drive home this afternoon.
We're currently joined by our most decorated Australian female Paralympian of all time, Ellie Cole. Thank you for staying with us, Ellie. You were here to promote your new book, Felix and His Fantastic Friends, which is out now. I wanted to say thank you personally, but there's someone else that also wanted to say thank you to you. Little Maggie was diagnosed with osteosarcoma in October last year. In January, she had surgery to remove a 17-centimetre area of her femur. Hours later, the surgery had shown signs that something wasn't quite right. The surgery that she'd had would have given Maggie the best shot at getting back to her active life. She's a sporty queen, loves basketball and all those things, and she wanted the functionality of rotation plasty, as it was referred to at the time, and her team did try to save her leg with surgery 5 times within a week, and in the end they had to let it go and they needed to crack on with chemo, which was what was needed to save her life. It was an incredibly harrowing time for Maggie, telling Maggie that her next and final surgery would be an above-the-knee amputation was one of the hardest things her mum's ever had to do, and they did it with your help, Ellie. And Maggie's mum, Ash, joins us on the line now. Hey, Ash.
Hey, team. Hey, Ellie.
Hey, Ash, how are you?
Oh, my gosh. I'm so good. I'm so good. To have you there in that moment was just incredible. The first thing that she said to us both, because it was Maggie and her dad and I there, telling her, breaking the news to her, was that she's crying through tears saying, but I won't be able to play basketball or swim or run. And we're there saying, but that's just not true. And we're trying to punctuate that sentence with a big exclamation mark. And, she's sharp as a tack and she'd done all of her research pre-surgery about all of her options. So, she's looking at us and we're just trying to convince her that, we know you can do whatever you want to do. And that's when we both kind of looked at each other and went, oh, we've got to bring Ellie Cole in on this one. and shower our girl in exclamation marks, Ellie. And you did. And
you played a video to Maggie, didn't you, that Ellie had recorded for you? And what did Ellie say in that video that
oh my
helped
gosh,
Maggie?
You talked about determination, you talked about capability, about gains. It was just all of the cup half full and positive things that our girl, we were trying to lead our girl to in that moment. And we had the best person in our corner to do that, because as much as, as parents, we wanted to do that, we don't have that experience in our background. And to have you there to do that and saying that you would never take back your journey, and she couldn't argue with the jungle lady. You were her favourite jungle lady. And then, you could see her, she was finding in her mind, like, oh, that's right. I'm talking, this is a Paralympian. And so, in that moment, she just couldn't argue with what you were saying. And we watched her pivot in front of us. And she kind of just had this silent grace about her of, yeah, I can do this. And that video, she's played that video throughout her journey. And we find her just watching it every now and then, because we know she takes something out of it each time. And at the moment, she's kind of in a holding pattern because she can't get her prosthetic done until chemo's out of the way. And she's done with the wheelchair. She's hopping around everywhere, and she's ready. But, seeing your videos and how, if there's no barriers and you're just that person, like that fairy godmother in our corner.
Oh.
And Ellie, with your book at the moment, the timing is priceless, because she's about to return to school for the first time this year. And the message in your book about kids and, empowering their curiosity for learning about differences and, for connection, it's really helped her to be able to not be so nervous about returning to school. So you're like our little fairy godmother, Ellie.
Thank you, Ash. I've never had anybody call me a fairy godmother before, but I can absolutely relate to what Maggie has been going through, and as well as you as a parent. I've seen, obviously, and spoken to my mum about her experience and what that was like. And I think that's what a lot of people don't really understand, is that it is so difficult for everybody and their family. And it's a grieving process, because you are saying goodbye to someone who you once was, and you're moving on to someone new. But I can understand her hesitation in thinking that she may not be able to play basketball or may not be able to go swimming. And I had a very similar experience when I was younger, and I had an incredible support network with my family and my twin sister. And, there's video footage of my twin sister taking me by the hand, and she's teaching me how to walk again, teaching me how to ride bikes again. And she taught me that I still had the world at my foot. And I think that was one of the most important lessons that I ever learnt. And I took that with me for the rest of my life. And one thing that I can tell you from what I've learnt, being someone who has a disability and has obviously been a Paralympian as well, is that people that have been through hardships like this, yourself included, are some of the most resilient and superhuman people you'll ever meet. And I can already tell that Maggie is one of those people. And, she's going to have hard times, of course, but I can tell from your family and her fairy godmother that she'll be very well taken care of. So big congratulations on getting through to the other side of this. And now it's all about moving forward and enjoying the rest of your life.
Oh, thanks so much, Ellie. And thank you for writing such a beautiful story to empower kids everywhere.
I also believe that the fact that Ellie had a little baby as well was also really powerful for Maggie. Is that right?
Oh my gosh. In that moment, to see Ellie as a mum as well, and to hear that message coming from Ellie as a mum and me as a mum trying to empower her, it was just that added layer of, well, you know what? Ellie can be a Paralympian. She can be a mum. She can do it all. I got this. And you signed off your message, Ellie, with saying to me, you've got this. And it was like in that moment, I could see her nodding, being like, yeah, I've got this. I've got this.
I think it's really important to tell yourself that you've got this. I don't think we do that enough for ourselves. But, obviously being faced with so much adversity, and Maggie is going to have so many hurdles that she'll approach for the rest of her life. But telling yourself time and time again, you've got this, by the time she hits 30, she'll honestly believe she can do anything.
Oh, anything. Motherhood. Walk in the park.
Well, you're all incredible, Ash. All the best with everything. Big hugs to Maggie and Ellie. Thank you for responding to my message. I'm sure you get thousands of messages all the time. You've obviously had an incredible impact on their family, and this book will have an incredible impact on other families as well. Thank you. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Ash.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks, Ellie.
Carrie and Tommy. Carrie and Tommy.
Driving you home for your Tuesday afternoon. It is Carrie Bickmore and Tommy Little.
You still sound so unsure what's happening. I know you're not Jessie. Sammy, you're doing an amazing job, but it's like,
It just sounds so
driving
unsure.
you home for a Tuesday. Am I? What am I doing with my life?
It's a bit of I'm not used to multitasking.
No,
in
you
my
are doing
normal
a
job,
lot of things.
But
You're doing great.
thanks for the support, though, Carrie.
No, you are doing great.
Well done. Do you want to have an attempt at saying my last name just one more time?
Tommy Little.
That's natural. That was better. That was better. That was better. 100%. Guys, I've got a story here about Halle. Sorry. About Halle Berry.
Halle Berry is one of the hottest women in the entire world.
Agreed.
Yes, but what?
Look, if you see X-Men, if you see John Wick 3, if you see Swordfish, hard agree. If you see her talking in her latest video
On Instagram. What's she talking about?
it is so...
What's she doing in the video?
As a lot of the comments said, I'll bring you the comments first. As a lot of the comments said, this video is giving auntie and uncle got drunk and accidentally FaceTimed from bed.
Who's she in bed with?
With her partner, Van Hunt, who I believe he's a soul singer, and he's got this is his song here called "Seconds of Pleasure."
Seconds of pleasure.
Oh, gross.
So that's what you can look forward to with Van.
Seconds of pleasure. Don't sell yourself so short, man.
Is his brother Mike? Has his brother Mike got music? No.
I don't know. I don't know if we can play that one on radio.
Yeah, I
think
wouldn't.
she's got her daughter, the Pinkett Smith daughter, Jaden. No.
This is not the Pinkett Smiths. What? I've actually
Oh,
nothing
sorry.
to do with
Sorry.
it. This is Halle Berry.
I was just thinking
Halle
about
Berry
hot
and
women.
Van Hunt.
And then I was thinking about how Jada Pinkett Smith's daughter has a song I really like. Anyway.
Do you mean Willow?
Willow. Do you know she's a singer?
I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair
Is that
back and
her?
forth.
Oh, she's got another one that's really awesome. Anyway, we're not talking about that hot woman. We're talking about a different hot woman.
Carrie, are you losing your mind?
Not as much as Halle Berry by the sounds of it.
So Halle Berry has posted to end Mother's Day. She's posted a video of herself in bed with Mr. Hunt.
Yeah.
And they're alluding to the fact that they're about to have seconds of pleasure. She'd posted earlier in the day saying that she was going to reveal how her Mother's Day is going to end. She posted a photo of her with her kids at the start of the day.
Yep.
And later on she'll tease.
Oh my God, you're actually going to be sick. Stop
She'll
doing
tease how it's going to end.
Yeah.
And then she posted this video. Now, the reason that this is...
You know women are allowed to have
It's also Van.
pleasure.
It's also Van Seconds of Pleasure Hunt that I've got an issue with, Carrie. and it's the main issue is because this is not them just posting video. She's got her own line of intimacy gels.
Oh.
Lube from those who play
She's
the
in
old school
bed.
game.
She's in bed.
Personal lubricant.
She's in bed with him on Mother's Day.
Promoting her lubricant. Sorry, her
Poor
Let's Spin
children. Intimacy
gel. Have a listen.
Oh
This
my
is what
God.
how she starts. Good one,
that's
Sammy.
not-
Thank you. You're off piste as well.
I'm going to tell you about, I'm not going to show you, I'm going to tell you about how my Mother's Day is going to end. Ain't that right, man?
Yes. I wish you hurry up, too.
First of all, we got our Let's Spin, because Let's Spin just came out in this cute little travel size.
So, the travel size of her personal intimacy gel that she's talking about, she references that because they're in Cannes, in France.
Oh.
And she travelled with it for the first time, she says. And she said, we're about to give it a spin.
Oh.
And then wait for this. This bit is the bit that made me actually spew in my mouth. So they're in Cannes,
Yeah.
right? Van
France, yeah.
Van wanted to have a go at a joke with Khan. But Khan doesn't rhyme with van.
Well, can does.
It
Because
does.
some people call it can.
Particularly if you're trying to rhyme it with van. But have a listen to the crack he has here.
And we're about to give it a spin.
You about to can with Van.
So is he?
No, he
is he
didn't say
alluding
that. Can.
with
They're
van?
in can.
Yes, but it's a climax joke.
Oh,
It makes no sense.
No.
Dad needs
Why-
to put down the seconds of pleasure vinyl and focus on the
Why
job
do we
at
have
hand.
such an issue with mothers being sexual?
No,
Like,
it's this bloke as well.
Nah,
It's
I reckon
are you joking?
there's something we're weirded out by the idea that she might want to have pleasure. Like the other day
Are
in
you
the living
joking?
room,
Carrie,
I was
it's-
showing my son how I took Latin dancing classes once because we're talking about dancing.
You are one step away from showing him your personal intimacy gel.
And I started doing the Latin dancing and he's like, please stop. He goes, I don't want to watch it. I was like, your mum can move her hips. Like, it's not weird.
That's weird. Latin dancing for your son
No,
only.
not for the girls were there as well. It wasn't like a one-on-one show.
What were they doing?
They were getting
On their
involved.
iPads?
No, like we're a dancing family, you know.
Didn't a celebrity do this recently with their
What
son?
celebrity?
They were getting the son to film.
Oh, yeah. It was.
photographs.
No,
yes,
you don't
who
mean
was
Katie
that?
Price.
No.
No,
Oh.
it was
Ex-supermodel,
someone-
maybe.
Yes, who was that?
What would you like to
Son
know?
to do something. No, what was it? That
Harry, this is worse than when you mentioned Jada Pinkett Smith before.
I'm trying to remember what Sammy's talking about.
Yeah.
She got her son to film her. Was it doing a adult scene or something? Anyway, I want to know on 131060 what you didn't want to see your mum do. Because mums do stuff, you know. We're allowed to get hot and heavy occasionally. It's not weird. Just because
It
she's
is weird when you're
aging.
flogging your own personal
Yeah,
intimacy
but there's a
gel.
lot of women that'll benefit from that, you know. And it's good to know she's still got an active.
It makes me not want to root ever again.
It was Liz Hurley. Sorry.
That's right.
Liz Hurley's son directed his mum's lady nighttime scene.
Oh my Lord.
That's too much. 131060. What don't you want to see your mum do?
Carrie and Tommy.
We're talking about what you don't want to see your mum do. I tried to Latin dance in the living room the other day. My 17-year-old son did not want to watch that. You have played us a little bit of
Halle Berry in bed with Van Hunt, soul singer, Mr. Hunt, who sings a song Seconds of Pleasure. They're in bed naked together.
Let's point out it's on
Advertising.
Mother's Day night.
On Mother's
this
Day.
is how she's going to bed.
And now I'm going to tell you about, I'm not going to show you, I'm going to tell you about how my Mother's Day is going to end. You know, right, man?
Yes.
Oh,
I wish
I
you
just-
hurry up.
Okay, we've got to turn it
and
off.
that's
I
to
can't cope.
that's to advertise her personal intimacy gel.
I can't hear that, and it's not my mother. However, I do appreciate that. I like the fact that she's still very open about the fact that she's sexually active because I think it's
You can't play
important.
both sides of this
I
coin.
can play both sides. I don't want to
So
hear
what
it,
was
but
your
good
Latin
to keep
dancing?
talking.
Was that showing your kids
No,
that you're
that-
still sexually active?
No,
And
I was just showing that I can do Latin dancing. Honestly, I was giving them the full like ba ba da ba ba cha cha cha, that kind of stuff. It was really
Harry,
like,
do you think maybe it wasn't out of it wasn't a sexual thing that your kids? Maybe it was just out of just embarrassment.
it was inside the home. I wasn't embarrassing them on a public. I mean, I did just do it then on a public stage. Alice, what don't you want to see your mum do?
So I feel like my story has been waiting for this segment because it's not something I would ever share otherwise. But when I was at uni, I worked in an adult store, and I remember when I first told my mum that, she was like, "Oh, I've never been to an adult store." And I was very careful with my response. I said, "Oh, that's surprising," and just left it at that. I wasn't going to say, "Oh, you should come by." Anyway. She did. The conversations with her new partner. So she'd recently, well, not recently, but split up with my dad. And I had learned way too much about both of their sort of sex lives at that point.
How old were you at this point? Like in your late teens?
Mid-20s, I'd say.
Okay.
So they were sort of relating to me more as an adult. I still very much wanted to be related to as their child.
What did they buy in the adult shop?
a wee vibe. They were the rage at the time.
Is that
Did
where
they
another
ask for
person?
your advice?
She
Let's
did,
not get
yeah.
into the details, I reckon, the time slot.
Carrie, we're meant to be encouraging mothers to explore their sexual side, but not too
It was
much.
all about exploring her sexuality.
Which we're encouraging.
Sorry, I missed when you answered. Did you have to show them around the shop and advise them?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God. That's just not, no. What's Mum doing?
Sorry, Carrie. I thought again we're meant to be encouraging mothers.
Good on Mum.
Were you more creeped out by this?
There's a limit, isn't there, Carrie?
There is a limit. Like, good on her for doing it, but don't shove it in your face.
Would you be more creeped out by the stepdad doing that stuff or the mum, like in a shop?
That's
a bit of both, because I had accidentally actually seen more of my stepdad than I wanted to.
Okay.
Not in that instance, like
You didn't
another
get
time.
undressed in the shop.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Thank
But
you,
there
Alice.
was just way too much.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, we're
wonderful
glad
stuff.
you finally got the opportunity to share the harrowing tale with us on the show.
It's an encouraging.
Sorry, an encouraging tale.
Yeah,
It's a
yes,
tricky
more-
line to walk, isn't it?
More mothers should go to adult shops.
Empower
with their
mums,
daughters.
but just not in front of your daughter. Emma.
Oh, I thought-
Emma,
Hello.
give us your story. What happened?
My mum is a bit of an oversharer on Facebook, and
Okay.
she will share, like, you know, those memes that come up. And one of them I vaguely remember is something about always being, you know, the good girl, but sometimes I just want to be held against the wall. And I'm been told to take it like a bad
Oh my
girl.
God. Okay. Yeah, we get it, Emma.
We're encouraging
Encouraging.
Carrie,
And
which
she
was-
puts that on Facebook.
She shares it on Facebook, like, I don't know. I called her out on it. I sent it to her in our family chat, and I was like, Mum, did you mean to share this? And she just ignored me. And then I caught up with her a few days later, and she's like, well, if people don't want to read it, they don't have to.
Yeah, and that's
and
what
good
we're
on her,
encouraging.
Emma,
on
that she's
show.
still, passionate,
Yeah.
Yep, no.
No, she's
See,
gone.
the kid doesn't want to know about her mum's passion.
G'day, Sam.
Hello.
What are we also encouraging Mum to do?
No, please no.
No. Okay, no.
Okay. So my mum and stepdad went to a hypnotherapist. This
Yeah.
was when I was about 15.
It's always mum and stepdad, isn't it?
And so he was on stage and doing his thing, and then it started to turn a little bit promiscuous,
Racy.
and he was
Yep.
like, pretend that I have the biggest thing you've ever seen, and was dancing around in front of him. And he
Hold
went
on.
to all
Is this the hypno
the
guy
hypno guy.
doing
Yeah.
it, or your mum's?
The comedy show.
Not the stepdad.
Yeah, it was a comedy
Okay.
show. It wasn't my stepdad. It was my. So he then went to all the girls that were up on stage, and my mum was one of them, and said, you know, what do you think? And most of them were like, oh, that's disgusting. Oh, get it away from me. And then he went to my sweet, sweet angel mother, who said, I'd give it a go.
Oh my God!
Which
Were
we're
oh my God,
encouraging.
of course.
Which, of course,
Good on
we're-
her.
Well done, everybody.
Carrie and Tommy.
Driving you home for your Tuesday, Arvo. It's Carrie and Tommy. And with CommBank Yellow, you can score even more. More recognition for you and benefits for your business too. It's their way of thanking you for banking with CommBank.
So you remember yesterday?
Yep.
You gave us
Well-
the tricky predicament that you have of knowing which cup that you're meant to use at the gym.
Dude, they have cups and they have jugs of water and stuff. But there's nowhere to put your dirty cups. It turns out, so the clean cups are on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Near the jugs.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the right-hand side, stacked up, are also cups. And that's where I've been getting my cups from.
Oh my God! Have you been drinking out of other people's dirty cups?
For a
Oh
whole
my
week,
God,
I've been
gross.
picking up cups from the dirty pile. Yeah,
And I
that's
thought-
at the gym at the hotel that I'm staying
Yeah,
at.
and I thought, oh my God, that's so gross. You poor thing, how confusing for you.
Yes,
I
thank
went
you.
to said gym this morning.
Yes. And how was the dirty cup that you drank from?
No, it is so clear which pile is the clean cups. They're on a tray.
Yes.
And there's lemon in the water and the
Yep.
cups are piled up. And then like a metre away
So-
against the back are piles of dirty cups.
So
There's
you're
no
right.
confusion.
You are right, but I hadn't seen the water and the cups.
How had you not seen them? They're right there.
Because I was using those bikes that are right next
The
to the
Pelotons,
thing that I've
yeah.
fallen in love with, and the cups that are stacked up there. And so I just grab a cup from there and then pour it to the tap from the sink.
Anyway, also at the gym.
Producer
Oh,
Sammy,
yes.
sorry.
Producer
With
Sammy.
the clean cups upside down and the dirty ones up normal
Actually,
ways?
that is a very good point.
No,
Let me see.
no.
I don't think so. I think
No,
they
they're
were
up
all
the same way, and they're stacked neatly. To be fair, the dirty ones are stacked neatly, and because it's just water, it's not like they've got like.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see.
Thank you.
Sort of, but no. Look, there's the clean, there's the
Yes,
dirty.
but I
Anyway,
didn't-
speaking. No, it was. So that sounded like I farted.
What was that?
It's the
What are you
chair.
doing?
It's the chair.
Is
it's
it?
the chair. Everybody, calm down.
DJ Queef.
Speaking of the gym, can we talk about my abs up next?
Yeah.
Great.
Love to.
Carrie and Tommy. Carrie and Tommy.
Driving you home for your Tuesday, Arvo. It's Carrie and Tommy.
Now, I want to take a trip down memory lane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what this segment is called now. It used to be When Was That Wednesday? Then it became Pick from the Past. And then it was...
When did that happen?
When did that happen? Anyway.
Archives from your guys' lives.
You get the gist.
Taking a look back at the pick from the past, from the archives of the... I don't know what we call this anymore.
Oh, my God, that's horrendous.
I'll turn it down.
Oh,
Can
who
we-
made that? Is that Belle's voice? Oh, is that a recorder? I thought it was producer Belle's voice. Oh, my God, turn that off.
Stop that. Can we just take a moment to remember the first time we did this segment?
Yeah.
Where you gave me strict instructions before we did it, and you go, I'm going to show you a picture. And it was called When Was That Wednesday? And I'm going to show you a picture, and you just have to ask me, when was that? And then instead of just showing me the picture and letting me say, when was that? You went, hey, Tommy, I've got a picture here. This is from the 9th of April in 1994. And then you looked at me, waiting for me to ask. And then I went, when was that? And you go, I've already told you. 9th of April.
I would never stitch you up like that now. I mean, I absolutely would. But right now, I'm going to show you a picture that I posted to Instagram.
When was that?
Good. Well
Thank
done.
you.
So I was looking through, because it's 10 years celebrating our beanie campaign. So I was going back through old photos and then I was scrolling through my camera roll and I saw a photo of me with brown hair.
Yes.
God, I miss
Infamous.
the days where I could have brown hair. Too grey now. I have
Sorry?
a
Why
whole
not?
new admiration for older women who have chocolate brown hair. The upkeep, the admin required to keep those greys away. Well done,
Carrie,
you.
you do a fair bit of admin and upkeep on the blonde hair. Why couldn't that just be brown hair?
Oh, no, because there's a little gap that forms that I cover with a spray that I just,
There's no brown spray.
There's no brown
a bit
spray.
of boot polish. No.
There
is brown spray. You use brown spray in the rest of your body. There is brown spray.
Anyway, so I saw this photo, but in it, on the cover of Women's Health magazine, and
Ka-clang.
it's me in a crop top.
Yeah.
And I
Just looking
look cool.
cute.
Yeah.
Just looking hot.
cool with abs of steel. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, where the hell have those abs gone? And then I looked at the little bit that they put in it, like the words they put next to your picture. And it was like, how did Carrie get those abs? And I was like, how did I get those abs? Anyway, I posted that I promptly went to the gym to have a session this morning to try and work out if I could find them again. And underneath a couple more rolls, another baby later and some crepey skin, they are still there. They're just hiding sometimes in the wrong light. They're not there. In the right light, they're there.
I don't want to compliment you too much, but you've got abs now.
I don't think so. I think they're called ribs.
Are they?
They're different. I've always
weirdly-
had protruding ribs. So does my mum. And I think they give the illusion of abs. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up
Yes.
is because it reminded me at the time.
You need to go back and get the issue and work out how you got those abs.
I know. I need to read all about
Yes.
it. Someone posted underneath and said, I remember buying that magazine. I think you said Pilates. And I was like, oh, there we go. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Couple of Pilates sessions and you get those abs.
God, that's a lot to buy a whole magazine to find out the answer is essentially go to the gym.
But at the time, I remember being accused, not myself, but the magazine, of photoshopping abs into me.
Yep.
And I was so offended because I don't have like a lot of muscle anywhere else, right, on my body. It's not like I've got like ripped arms or...
Do you want that?
No, but I just don't, right? But my abs was the one thing I had, which was why it was the only bit they showed. I was in like full leggings and a top, and then the abs was the bit peeking out. I was like, damn you, women haters, they're my abs. So then I had to go find a picture on my camera roll that I'd taken on the day from the computer screen where they upload all the photos as they're taking it, to prove that they were my abs, and then I posted it going, these are my abs. I look back now, I'm like, oh, God, if I had to defend myself against every time I'd been accused of something being photoshopped, it'd be a full-time job.
Was it women or men accusing you of the photoshopping?
Women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't have to say women haters. You just had to say women.
Always lifting each other up, sisters.
Carrie and Tommy.
It's Carrie and Tommy for your drive home this afternoon.
With CommBank Yellow, you score even more. More recognition for you and benefits for your business too. It's their way of thanking you for banking with CommBank. Ongoing eligibility and T's and C's apply.
Carrie and Tommy's live for free.
Carrie and Tommy's live for free.
Now that we've got Carrie and Tommy's live for free.
This is exciting because a year's worth of house cleaning on us.
We've had a lot of women call up, but today, apparently, the first call we're going to try and make is to a man, because men want cleaners too.
Men want to not clean also.
All you got to do is answer yellow, and you could be in the running. Let's make the first call.
You had a couple of false starts yesterday.
Yellow.
Hey, yellow, Rowan.
How you going?
Yeah, very good. It's Carrie
I
and
think
Tommy
you helped
here.
him out there by talking.
Sorry, did I?
Did he?
Thank you. No.
You were across it, weren't you, Ro?
Yep, I was.
Have you been answering the phone yellow for a bit?
Yes.
Are you a man of few words, Rowan?
I'm just a bit shocked, that's all.
Hey, Rowan, are you good at cleaning? Do you like getting your clean on?
No, I don't. My partner does most of it, so I'd love to give him a break.
Oh, wonderful. Well, the good news is you are down to a 1 in 4 chance. We will speak to you again on Friday. And Rowan, hopefully we are saying the words, you never have to clean again for the next year.
That'd be great. Absolutely
Okay.
be great.
Thanks, Rowan. We'll speak to you again.
Okay, no worries. Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Tommy.
Bye.
What a lovely man.
Yes, so lovely.
And if you're listening to Rowan and you want to get involved as well, it is not too late. A year's worth of cleaning. We've already given away a year's worth of fuel. We've already given away a year's worth of groceries. We're doing cleaning this week. There'll be more to come. Just head to the listener app, go to the Carrie and Tommy page and register there, and it could be you.
With CommBank Yellow, you score even more. More recognition for you and benefits for your business too. It's their way of thanking you for banking with CommBank. Ongoing eligibility and T's and C's apply.
Carrie and Tommy.
I think we're learning now that you can never know what's happening in the personal life of a pop star that you're seeing up on stage. I remember watching Katy Perry's doco, which you would think, especially at the moment, it's worth everybody watching, everyone that's got an opinion of Katy Perry at the moment, because her doco during which she was breaking up with Russell Brand, he literally told her like moments before she went on stage that he wanted a divorce. And then you see her popping up through this hole on stage with a smile on her face, and she goes on to do the entire performance. And you're like, and no one would have known in that crowd that what was actually happening for that person. We spoke about Tones and I a few months ago, how she had a miscarriage, tragically, and then went on. She probably should have gone to hospital by her own admission. She was like, that's what the doctors wanted me to do. And she was like, but did she want to let people down? And she went on and gave the performance of her life, she described at a show in Melbourne. But that's just like, that would be so hard to do when you're in the depths of grief. And I came across something the other day on Instagram, and US singer Halsey was speaking about, and this is from like 2018.
I absolutely love.
Okay, well, I think you're going to love.
You Make Me Sad is like, no, You Should Be Sad is like my heartbreak song.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I know that.
Oh,
song.
it's wonderful.
Oh, well, she spoke in 2018, which I know seems like a while ago, and I've only just seen it now, but I think it's worth having a listening to. Especially if you're wondering how young artists are treated. She spoke about how in 2016 she had a miscarriage before she was due to go on stage and perform at a concert. And this is how it was handled.
I had a miscarriage. I was 20 years old. I didn't even know I was pregnant. And I had a miscarriage, and I remember laying on a bed in a hotel room with a towel between my legs, bleeding and staring at my very young, very scared, very male managers who had no idea what was going on. And I remember them looking at me and saying, I mean, it's 33 million impressions. This concert's kind of a big deal. So I took a Percocet and I put on an adult incontinence diaper, and I wore a long t-shirt that would cover it, and I got on stage and I performed in front of about 1,200 screaming teenage girls. It was in that moment that I realized that part of being a woman and dealing with reproductive health was being treated like you're not a human.
Oh.
She spoke about after leaving the stage, she threw up in the parking lot. She was sick all night long. She sat in a bathtub where she just filled the bathtub with blood overnight. And she says, forgive me for being so graphic. And the next moment, she boarded a flight to Canada. And she said she had to do it. There was a corporate partner attached to the show. There was thousands of kids waiting all day long to see her. And she just said it was early on in her career and she just was in a tough position. She didn't know how else to speak up or say what was going on. Anyway, I just think it's a reminder. We always say how you never know what's going on in people's lives. But, you know, young women particularly, they do what they're told and do what, you know, people say is the right thing to do. And it's only later in life that they find their voice and go, hey, I'm not doing that.
Carrie and Tommy.
Across the country, if you drive home this afternoon, it's Carrie Bickmore and Tommy Little. And ask your friends about Sleeping Duck, the new better way to buy your mattress online with incredible value. Precision designed by aerospace engineers. Available with a 100-night trial. sleepingduck.com.
Still sounding like Channel 31 radio over here with producer Sammy filling in for Jesse, who's still crook.
Sleeping Duck do wonderful work. The mattresses are wonderful, but Sammy cannot say my last name.
They're currently emailing in saying, can that man never read the credits for our product ever again?
I'm a bit tired. Maybe I need a Sleeping Duck. And then I'll be able to say your name properly.
Oh, now he's trying to get kickbacks.
I know. It's cash for comment, old school.
Hey, are we going to talk about, speaking of laying in bed, are we going to talk about the other day on your Instagram? Are you just pawning?
You just pawning?
Are you just posting this? That was obviously in my head. Adult content. You posted some video the other day of two people like going for it in bed.
Oh no, that wasn't in bed. Oh, they were in bed. I was at work. It was the new trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6.
You're excited about that, aren't you, Carrie?
Yes.
The movie or what?
No,
the game.
The video game. Rockstar.
Why are they doing
Have you just discovered Grand Theft Auto?
I don't think I've ever discovered Grand Theft Auto. Is that what GTA stands like? I saw this thing that said GTA 6.
Yeah.
Has it been 6 iterations of it?
It rocked the gaming world back in the day because you basically you go around stealing cars, throwing people out of their cars and stealing their cars.
And so what?
And then it got more violent as it's gone on.
And is there a lot of action in it, like as in sexual action?
Well, you had to, I mean, back in the day, Sammy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you used to have to do jobs like crime jobs.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go and rob a bank or steal a car and meet someone for a drop somewhere. And it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It sounds hectic.
Fun.
And
so is that what the kids are playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one's been ages in the making.
When do they get it on? Is it like real racy?
It is. I guess it's weird because I think I probably first played it when I was like 14 or 15, but you definitely got up to some naughty stuff. You were exposed to sort of
a lot of running people over.
Yeah, running people over, going to certain adult-only venues. It was a
one
real
of our
hoot.
producers are saying you pay for 4 lap dances in a row at the Gentleman's Club and they'll go home with you.
I think that's what Zoe did when she was playing.
What? This is not the one where you would kill women.
Women, men.
Just
we don't. No discrimination.
Yeah, no discrimination.
Yeah,
Kill everybody.
Everyone.
How do we feel about that?
It's a game. It's pretty fun.
That our kids are playing. Oh God, I know I sound so old right now. But
I mean,
I've
games
only
have ratings
discovered-
on them like anything.
Yeah, but who cares about ratings? It's like when you're a kid and you used to watch
comes
movies
down to
that
the parent then.
It was a very...
Does your son play this?
I don't know. I need to ask him if he's shooting men and women and how long he's been doing it for.
I reckon
Is this the one where they used to shoot sex workers?
Yeah, you could.
Do they still do
as
that?
Eli said before, no discrimination. You can, murder anybody you want.
Nah, I don't know how I feel about this.
On top of
I
that,
feel
though,
like you're very late.
Most
I realise
games.
I'm late
I'll
to
find
this,
out when
but-
the first Grand Theft Auto came out because I think it was
I'm
20
late to
years
everything, but I'm like I don't play video games, and I know games can be hectic, but this feels a lot.
I think the exciting, it's voyeuristic, right? And that's something that you're not really exposed to in a normal life. And then it's all these things that you shouldn't be doing in normal life, so you do it. And like there's so many other games, the shooter games and stuff like that, but this is the most sort of realistic. It's set in Miami. it costs like $1 to $2 billion to make. It's like really realistic.
So how do
Sammy,
we
I've
feel
got-
that that's impacting? I know this
my
sounds
God.
like no.
Carrie.
I have to ask, how is that impacting on the minds of young men as they're forming? That this is what they're seeing is a fun, normal thing
Just
to do.
to back the boys up, I also played GTA.
There we go.
And I also engaged in adult activities and murders. So
And Zoe's turned out.
Do you think it's Zoe? Did it strike you even when you were playing it as a lot if you were a boy playing it? Like, do you think it was different as a girl playing it?
I mean, I felt dirty. I felt naughty. I felt like a boy. Is that what they feel like all the time?
Because we're actually not. I apologise. I said you were a bit late to this, but it's not as late as I thought. The first one, Grand Theft Auto, was released in November 1997.
Oh my God.
People have been having this chat.
Good.
Follow Carrie Bickmore and Tommy Little on socials at Carrie Tommy Show.
Bye.
Bye. Carrie and Tommy love a good deal, and CommBank Yellow has plenty. Cashbacks, discounts, and exclusive deals. Just for banking with CommBank. Say hello to CommBank Yellow today.